So I'm here with someone that, I don't know if you know how important you are for my life, man. I mean, Chi Modu, man.
Hey,
Thanks
man.
a lot, man. Photographer, one of the most famous guys in the hip-hop community because of all those incredible pictures.
Sure.
And when I say you're part of my life, it's because I explained to you a little bit before we started here about the Source magazine and how it impacted, because the thing that I love the most, besides sports, is hip-hop, and I collect. So do you, like, after all these years, do you understand, like, when people talk to you, the influence that you had on these people?
It's funny, man. I mean, more and more that I travel, I realize. Because when you work on this stuff, you work in a bit of a bubble.
Right.
You know what's going out to the world, but you don't know how far and wide.
Yeah.
And then as I start to move around the world, I hear firsthand from people on how you're on the bedroom wall in my house. I used to cut up the magazine and hang your stuff up, and I like that. Because to me, it speaks to how powerful hip hop is and was.
Of course.
You know what I mean? And so I'm sort of part of this engine. This machine that drives everybody, so that part I like. But it really makes me look at what my generation accomplished.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
I was in Borneo, off the coast of Malaysia. Right? It's an island, right?
Right.
And someone's like, "Are you Chi Modu?" I'm like, no. He's like, "Yeah, I'm a huge fan, huge hip hop fan." I was like, "Okay." So I was like, "All right." So that's the globe.
It's the impact that you
globe.
Oh my God,
it's wild.
a lot.
It's wild.
Yeah. Well, but before we go into hip hop, every time I interview someone, I try to find something related to soccer for some reason, or football. And what I didn't know about you was you were born in Nigeria.
Yeah, I was born in Nigeria, moved to the States when I was 3. So my whole life has been here.
Yeah, you were raised in New Jersey, right?
Raised in New Jersey, but I grew up playing soccer. Because New Jersey is a soccer state.
Right.
Because soccer is regional. You know what I mean, right? And depending where you're from, it's a sport you play in the fall. So we played soccer.
But while you were here, your family was still in Nigeria?
No, I grew up here with my parents when I was in high school. I'm the youngest of 5. And in my high school, my dad was posted to a project in Liberia.
Okay.
And then eventually he retired in Nigeria. So I was the last born. So for me, I went to boarding school and then college, and then I was on my own from there. But soccer, I played soccer in college.
But would you follow, like, World Cup in the Nigeria team or something like that, or no, you wouldn't cheer, like, big time? Really?
Big time, man. I mean, I follow Premier League stuff. I follow Brazilian players. I know what it is. Yeah, if you're a soccer player, you're a soccer player.
Because people in Brazil, they love, like, the Nigerian team became like a favorite of Brazilian people, Because,
Brazil and Nigeria are quite similar.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. You know what I mean? You could see the connection in the people,
Yeah.
And Brazil has its challenges, Nigeria has its challenges.
I remember when Nigeria eliminated Brazil it was 3-1, and then they came back and won 4-3. What was that? I don't remember. It was the Olympics, I think. They eliminated Brazil. Like, oh my God, it was unbelievable.
But Brazil's been good a long time.
Oh yeah.
And I know the Brazilian fans are probably getting a little frustrated. They haven't a cup home in a bit, so they have no patience for any losing at all. But it'll come back. Brazil's too strong.
But that's funny, because in Africa, like, every time I'm here in New York, and I'm in a cab or something, and there's always the driver is an African guy, and they always ask, "Where are you from?" Brazil, and they start, football, Brazil. And when they hear him, Zico, they stop the car,
out of
and they go, "Zico, are you kidding?" And they get the phone, they call their parents, they call people, and they say, "You know how many kids are named after your father in Africa?" I said, "No, I have no idea." It's white Pele.
Yeah, facts.
It's incredible.
Facts.
Well,
I mean, football, soccer is that powerful.
Yeah, it is.
The same way hip hop connects the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Soccer connects the world.
Yeah.
You don't have to speak the same language.
Yeah.
But you follow the same beat.
Yeah.
That's a similarity for me.
Yeah. So when you moved to New Jersey, where you start studying photography, like here?
Not until about high school.
Oh.
My sister had a camera, and I started playing around with that. But it was in college when I bought my first camera.
Okay.
So me and my girlfriend at that time, who's now my wife, we put some money together, bought my first camera. It's kind of funny, like how my career has gone. So she's seen the whole thing. Oh. You know what I mean? So every single step of it.
What year was that, more or less? Do you remember?
1985, 86. That's probably when I got my first.
I missed the 80s.
Yeah, my 80s. No, that's my first camera that I owned. So then I could actually experiment with it,
right.
And test. It was only film at that point, no digital at all. Digital didn't exist.
No.
Camera phone didn't exist. So you had to learn it. So you needed to have patience, but photography would get expensive.
Right.
You're buying film, processing it, so you had to get good or you had to quit.
Yeah.
It wasn't something you play around with, So I liked it so much that I'm going to get good at this.
Right.
And I kept trying, and then found some local newspapers that would take. I had a dark room. that I built. So I'd print my own stuff, took it to this newspaper, Amsterdam News in Harlem. The guy said, sure, I'll give you a shot. And so I was just doing.
That was like the first
place that ever said they let me publish.
They would get their pictures.
First place, all right. And I did that for a bit, and then the source had come to New York from Boston.
Right.
It was about 1990, 89 and 90.
Yeah, I think the first issue was like 1990. I think.
Exactly, in New York, you know. And so I heard about them, so I went down to talk to them. And they're like, well, we have a film student that's running our photo department. So the NYU film student. Like, well, I know photography, and I can get in there. So I started showing up, and I had a beeper, so I could be paged, you know, so I could show up to an event. And eventually the artist saw me as the person. So at my own expense, I built up this status.
Yeah, but that's funny because you looked for it, like you went there to try to get the job. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I knew hip hop was important. I knew it was important, and I'd always been an outsider anyhow in society, so I wasn't afraid of embracing something that people didn't know what it was, you know.
And that got you off. Like, how many works have you been like? Did you do before the source?
Mostly,
like not many, right?
Mostly like newspaper pickup work. But I was a trained photographer. But I wasn't working as one.
Right.
You know, and so I did economics in college of all careers, right? Like Mick Jagger though. He did economics too, right?
Nice comparison.
Yeah, but I did economics, and then I did photo school for a year after. I've only had one actual job in my life. Now, right out of college, I worked for a real estate company for 9 months.
Wow.
You know? And I left that to go to photo school. Hid in photo school for about a year, and then just.
What college was that?
I went to Rutgers University.
Rutgers University.
Yeah, and for photo school, I went to International Center of Photography.
How many years did it take to?
Rutgers is 4 years.
4 years.
Photo school was a year.
Right.
You know, so yeah, I'm an economist.
Good. I'm gonna call you for some advice if you don't mind sometimes.
Yep, no problem.
So tell me about the source. How did you start with the source right away?
When I got to the source in those early days, you know, hip hop was still very raw.
Yeah.
You know, and it wasn't so user friendly. So it wasn't really something just anyone could do.
Yeah.
And that's part of the good thing about it. You know, because
I actually missed those.
Some of that, right?
It's like a tribe. It's like our own community, right?
Exactly right. Yeah. And so what happens is once you're in that club, you're in that club. You know, and once the artists see you as one of them, then you can move freely. Right. But I mean, I go into pretty much every neighborhood in the country, and you know, not always the nicest neighborhood, but I'd always come home. Because I have a lot of empathy for my subject. You know, I feel the people I'm with. And so I don't have to have the same background as you to know what you're going through. And my job is to sort of bring it out to the world. So in the early days of the source, you know, I was just doing inside of the magazine stuff, and then I started moving to the cover. You know, and then once I got to the covers, you know, I could sort of shape how the magazine looked, you know, which was pretty important for me because that's what the generation was seeing. That's what you were seeing. You were looking at those photographs, and I just left Finland for an exhibition about 2 weeks ago, and they told me the same thing. They looked at those pictures to see what they were hearing. You know, so now I realize how important those pictures were, but I was just doing it for a love of hip hop and really more a love of photography.
Yeah, but like you were saying, it was like a raw, because everything was so raw.
Exactly.
Like I just saw the other day a clip of the Source van. Remember that when they brought the vans with the tapes and everything through the cities?
That was the first time that anyone did that.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you the story of riding around in that Source van in Staten Island, playing Method Man and Protect Your Neck, the demo for Wu-Tang.
Wow.
A side was Protect Your Neck, B side was Method Man. With Method Man in the truck, riding around Staten Island, rhyming.
I don't think you could do that today.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, right? So I remember those times.
Yeah.
So those pictures, you actually see me in Staten Island with them when they're in the projects. That was then. That was before they were signed to Loud.
Yeah, even I remember Yo MTV Raps with 5 Freddy, all those guys. Like some of them, they didn't even know how to do interviews. They were just starting, like going on cars and stuff like that.
You know, because it was really raw and pure.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and there's some downside to too raw. You know what I mean? Like you do have to adjust a little bit, but I don't like it when everyone becomes a vegan. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a little too much the other way. Like, I still like a little bit of the balance. You know what I mean? Of course, eating well is a good thing.
Because you want to get it, you want it to be big, but then when it gets too big, it gets too pop, and it gets to change, right?
Yeah.
So it becomes different, yeah.
And that's part of how my segue began out of music,
right?
You know, and it's not that I'm still a big fan of hip hop. I'll never say a bad word about hip hop.
It's different, yeah.
It's just different, you know, but not in a bad way.
Now you have to choose lanes, I think.
Exactly right. And so, but even back then, there was some bad hip hop too.
Yeah.
But you didn't have all these other ways.
There were less options, right?
Yes, exactly right. Exactly right. So for me, I mean, what I say to people my generation a lot of times, I said, time will tell.
Yeah.
Time will tell what stays or goes. You don't have to put it down. Time will decide on what's relevant. You know, I say the same thing with my photography. Time decided that it was the right stuff, you know?
Yeah.
But for a decade, no one was looking at it. You know? And so basically I did my source work, right?
Yeah.
For a full decade after. 97, 2007, almost to 2012.
Yeah.
No one was asking.
Yeah, but from 97 maybe to like 2004, 5, that's when it became
very pop.
Yeah, this
jumped.
big thing.
It jumped. Yeah. Well, it became mainstream during my run. It became popular culture later.
Exactly.
It wasn't fully popular culture. It was still dangerous. It was still like now it runs the Grammy Awards now.
Oh no. Like, Instagram, I think it messed it up.
But Grammy Awards didn't exist in our world. They didn't give us Grammys then.
And the artists didn't want to go to the Grammys, remember?
But they didn't want to give it to us. I'm even talking before Jay-Z.
Yeah.
So it all started.
They wouldn't even show the hip hop.
They wouldn't show it. Yeah. So what's happened is it won. And so now it's shown.
Yeah.
Because it won. And that's kind of how I look at this art form. It's for the people.
Yeah, right.
So since the people love it, you know, that's why it's still here.
What was your very first cover in this?
It was the Fab Five Freddy. Yo MTV Raps cover.
Right, I remember.
That was the first one. I did it with 2 rolls of film in my pocket. 2 rolls of 35mm film.
Yeah.
You know, think about that, doing a cover like that. Like, not my favorite cover, but it was my first cover.
Yeah.
You know, and then, but I followed it up with LL and then Onyx.
The Onyx one, I love that one with they put their hands on the ball head.
You know, I did that cover in the Source office. In front of a sheet of paper, background paper, that's about 1.5 meters wide.
Wow.
You know, right? So that's why they're tight.
Yeah, tight.
You know, because that's the only way you fit.
Maybe that's why they were jumping
that's the whole point.
each other.
Really? Which fit their brand. So that's why I did it. You know what I mean? Because they were, you know, on top of each other, like, and it gave that feel. So you don't see just outside of that, there's a wall to the office.
Wow.
So you see, it looks like I'm in a photo studio, but that's in the office.
So in those, like the very first one, you started seeing this thing is going, going to get big.
The public started to see where it could go. Like, I think those two, and both those covers were cross-processed, meaning it's actually slide film processed as negative.
Okay.
So you turn slide film into a negative, you know, right? And so that's why it's saturated. That's why the colors are so rich. Yeah. Because it gets saturated.
I just love those colors. And then the Cypress Hill one. That was
a cross process. Danny Hastings did the Cypress cover.
Yeah, with a lot of purple
with the colors and all that. Absolutely. And so that was something that we were doing at that time. But when I did those first 2 covers, it ramped it up a bit. Okay. Like even for the whole like pop culture arena, like teen magazine stuff, this went up a notch. You know, and so that was kind of what I did. I took things a little higher. Right. You know, and with my portrait style, the stuff of Tupac and all that, I took it a little higher than where it was.
Because we have some like iconic, I'm going to show you the book later on, but we have some iconic pictures. The Mary J. Blige one that covered 94 with the snow. You had, you had Dr. Dre, Eazy-E.
Yep, I had Eazy sitting on the hood of the car.
Cube, you did Cube.
Cube, in another tight shot, headshot, with the pick in his hair.
There was the Ice-T one with a bunch of like...
Ice-T with the hands in front of him, the gang signs. I actually have that up in the show in Finland right now, and it's 2.5 meters tall.
Right.
Yeah, like big piece.
Wow. What are the biggest, like obviously Tupac, that people remember the most? Like the biggie one with the World Trade Center.
People remember my pictures not necessarily on the magazine cover.
Oh yeah, right.
But they actually remember the shoot. Sometimes the magazine will use a different picture because that Biggie World Trade Center wasn't on the magazine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And someone picked the wrong photo, obviously. You know, but in some ways it's to my advantage because the picture's still alive. It didn't get overused.
Right.
Because magazine covers, like album covers, sometimes burn pictures out. You know, so it's nice sometimes when it gets held back. But that was an important. I think people like that Gangstar photograph.
That's just like I told
subway.
you. Yeah, I told you. My two favorite ones are Gangster and Mob Deep in the Subway.
Okay. Well, okay. So the Gangstar picture. What's funny about that is, the source office was on Houston and Broadway.
Right.
And so City Hall was 3 subway stops away. Right.
Yeah, City Hall.
So basically, I had someone with me. They were holding my light. I said, "Yo, let's get on the train." We didn't have a permit or anything.
Right.
We just hopped on the train. As the doors closed, I had the person hold the light up. I had my camera. I waited. You know, that's how we got the cover.
Yeah.
So I didn't really.
And the idea
overshoot.
of being black and white,
You know, and it worked in a way. And my thing was, let's show people the inside of New York,
right?
Like the belly. You know what I mean? And so let's go into the subway. The way these guys come to me, let's go back and show the public that.
But it's funny because sometimes you see the artists and you see their music and listen to them. The picture, if you don't do the picture like.
Yeah, sure.
There's sometimes you see the picture and you go like, wow, that's not what I feel from the music. Those two pictures in black and white in Subway showed like exactly how like Gangsta and Mobb Deep were like this raw group. Mobb Deep is my favorite group by far. We had to choose one. I mean, I love.
I would.
We had to choose one. Mobb Deep is my.
Okay.
Prodigy.
Well, those are my guys.
Oh my God.
Those are my guys.
Prodigy. Was
awesome.
and
the hip hop lost a lot losing Prodigy.
Yeah,
a lot. You know, he's that guy. You know, but very, very loyal. Like if Prodigy had your back, you were good.
Wow.
You know, like he never ever went away from me.
Do you have a personal favorite from those or is it the same as mine?
Of artists, of photographs? I'd say the picture of Tupac tying his bandana, the profile
like
shot,
this with the
that one's because that was an accident. First of all, none of my pictures are accidents, but it wasn't the main shot.
Right.
The main shot were the cover series of him looking at camera before That was an in-between shot. You know, and it's funny that ended up being probably the most famous Tupac shot.
Yeah.
The in-between. So I do like that. You know, the Biggie Twin Tower shot I like 5 years later. When I did it, it was okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But now it's a moment in time that you can't repeat.
It became iconic.
Exactly right. I could admit the fact that it became iconic because of everything that happened.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying, right? And so, but with that said, I'm glad I have it. You know, because he was the king of New York to us.
Sure.
You know, and so that's what and so were those towers. You know, so they kind of work hand in hand.
That was a dark period. I mean, those 2 years were like.
It was. I tell you, now that I'm a little older and I move away from it a bit, you know. I think that it doesn't really matter how long you live. Just put it down.
It's the impact that you create.
Put it down. You know, and you stay.
The years you're here.
You stay here. That's what life is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, Tupac, 25, he died. Still, every day, to this day,
you're right.
People talk about him.
And in your pictures, you showed a side of him that people were not like, because he was, you know, something, especially when he got out of prison, he was like screaming all the time and talking about, everything. And you got him like, you know, this sweet guy, you know, intimacy, and it was,
And he's, I mean, think about the age I said. He died at 25.
Unbelievable.
Think about that. I mean, these guys were really young guys.
Yeah.
And leading the globe.
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of it's really incredible.
Yeah.
You know, it's if you
His
really.
2 albums, he said, Me Against the World, then he says, All Eyes on Me. It captures like what his life was at that time.
And Pac was loyal too.
Look
very loyal. You know? And so I'm from New York. I'm from here, right?
Right.
So Biggie was my guy. You know, like I could call Big on a cell phone.
Wow.
Right? So I was closer to Big than I was to Pac, but Pac and I both knew we had a mission to do. You know, so he had his skill, I had my skill. So we brought it together. You know what I mean? Because this guy, he saw ahead. You know, but people sometimes confuse it. They think that I was closer to Pac than Biggie. It's actually the other way around.
Yeah, because you obviously created a lot of relationships, you know, with those artists.
Oh yeah.
Which ones after you're gone, like still today, you have a good like.
I rarely deal with artists. When we're together, we shoot and we part ways. You know, and then when we see each other, we're, hey, how you doing? But we don't come over each other's house for dinner.
Right. But any of them, like, you became like friends that you call.
Every last one of them, when they see me, there's a mutual respect. There's no way, but I don't call them.
Right.
Nah, it's not what no way. Like, I'm a visual artist. they're performing artists. You know, I happen to visualize hip hop, but they're rappers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's actually a difference. I'm a hip hop fan, but that's not why I'm
you.
around them. I'm around them for my eye.
Yeah, but many of them, you know, became actors, became, you know, entrepreneurs, they became owners. I mean, yeah, they have a hip hop side to it, of course, because they're artists. But they created other.
But they're
other
still
lanes.
celebrities.
Yeah.
And you know, and I don't know if you spend time around celebrities.
Yeah,
So
I know.
it could be unpredictable, right? So, right?
My father's one, but he's not like that.
He's your dad,
he's
right?
Very humble. Yeah.
But celebrities can be, and sometimes even your dad's not in the mood. That's the nature of it. You know what I mean, right?
It's hard, yeah.
But as long as I bring to them what I do well, we're always close.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so we're always connected. You know, so even I saw Snoop in September. I haven't seen him in 23 years.
Wow.
Before, actually, where we're together on a stage, and we're talking. So imagine what that's like. But we have a history.
That is timeless.
So
yeah,
it's like we're forever together. So
of course.
It's like seeing your brother again. Hey,
right,
man. So there's no warm up needed. I mean, Nas came to my show in Finland last week because he was.
I had Nas in Brazil once. Yeah, he was in my car. We rode together.
Okay,
rode
so
together.
You know Nas, right? So he came to the show, and so I have Nas looking at a picture of a 19-year-old Nas in his bedroom. You know what I mean, right? So now he's a father, grown man.
Yeah.
So, but he's standing in front of the picture, and I'm like, and I know there's a lot of things going through his head then. And only him and I were in that room that day, nobody else.
Wow.
You know, so I have that kind of relationship with these guys.
Like I said to his kids, you know, this guy here,
I was
this
there.
is the guy who took that picture.
There, you know, right? So that's a good thing. So that part I really like and appreciate.
Right.
That I have that, you know. And I'd rather stay friendly with people than actually see the real person and not want to deal with them anymore, right? You know how it goes,
good.
right?
Yeah, there's a good side of it.
Exactly right.
But then after the source, like what was your next step? Like after 97, 98?
So after that, I pretty much stopped shooting music. Every now and then I would get caught here and there, but I wasn't really doing that much music.
So was that your option, or you just?
It's a combination of you go out of popularity. So all artists go through it. You know. So basically, it's really that 10 years when you're not popular that you establish yourself. Because that's when you go through the pain and the challenges.
You have to search for other opportunities.
Find out who you really are, right? And then you get good at it. Then you start to figure it out, right? And so, I mean, look, Frank Lloyd Wright, most famous American architect, designed the Guggenheim. He went 10 years without a single call. So it's not unusual.
Yeah.
It's not unusual. It happens, you know, right? And so, but what I did is, I'm pretty good with business, so I started licensing my work. So I was ahead of the curve. So I digitized a lot of my
files. So use
files.
your economic background.
You know? So I said, I have these pictures, I'm going to license them. So I licensed it for money.
Right.
You know, I let you use it to put in your magazine, you pay me a fee. If I do a clothing, there's a fee that comes from it. And then, so that went on for about a decade, and about 6 years ago, you know, I was like, wait, not enough people know who I am. All right, this has to change. So what am I going to do? Well, if the system keeps you out, go to the people. Right. Go directly to the people.
And you got to take advantage of the social media thing. I mean, it's
well, before social media, I started it with billboards. And, you know, and my idea was to take the art directly to the people, go around the middleman, so no one could stop me. And I thought, wow, what a perfect way. You can't look away from a billboard.
Yeah.
You know, so I had 6 billboards in New York City. So I called the billboard company randomly. And I said, I saw a phone, I called them. I said, hey, you have billboards? I said, yeah. I said, well, I want some. And he's like, well, what do you mean you want a billboard? You know, I said, I'm a photographer, I'd like a billboard.
What the hell are you?
And he goes, well, come in and talk to us. So, and you know, most people Google me, and then they see, they're like, this is who this is. So when I went in, it wasn't a hard thing to deal to close. The billboard was empty. I was like, I'll pay you some money. I'll maybe do a photo shoot for you. We could swap. So I took Snoop billboard out, Tupac, Biggie, another kids in the back of the church, and Method Man in Brooklyn. And it was really an aggressive move, but very effective.
This was the uncategorized
That's how it started.
Project.
Exactly, uncategorized. So all I had on the billboard was a photograph, uncategorized, and my signature.
That's the 2013?
2013, yep. That's when I started, yep. And so, and in doing that, it threw people off. Like, who is this person?
Right.
We know these pictures, like, and he's not selling anything.
Yeah.
He doesn't want work. He's just taking his lane. So I wasn't able. You couldn't hire me. because I didn't do it to be hired. I did it to take my lane, you know. But when I did that, it started creating a buzz.
Of course, because people know the pictures, but they don't know who was
right.
the. Yeah, no,
exactly right. So
most of the people don't know.
This museum in Finland caught wind of it because of a friend of mine who sent them an email. This guy Asa sent this museum an email, and the museum said, "Yes, we'd like to have you here for our next summer show." They said, "But we only have a space that's about 20 square meters."
Why did your friend email somebody in Finland?
Because and let me tell you who
that's
my
so
friend
random.
is. He was an exchange student in high school with me. We ran track together.
Okay.
I haven't seen him in 25 years. But through social media, people see you, they find out who you are.
That's how I found you.
That's how it is, you know? So he was like, yo, let me find out what in Finland. So he sent an email. The curator, Pia, saw the email and right away said, I want to bring it here. So initially they gave me a space that was 20 square meters. 2 weeks later, they called back, no, we have a 200 square meter space for you.
Wow.
And then 2 weeks later, they called back, no, you're our main show for the season, like I think 600 or 800 square meters.
Wow.
So it's the biggest show I've ever done. You know, and they're like, we just want to know, can you fill it? I said, absolutely, I can fill double.
And was that like the very first
big
one, right?
museum show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first big museum show.
And then the first internationally too.
Exactly right. And then that started, the following year I went back and released a book with them, and then I grabbed Instagram. Once I grabbed Instagram, so I know photographs. I mean, that's my space, you know?
Of course.
And this is a photo platform. I was like, this is easy for me to do this, right? So, and I already had all the digital files.
Specialist.
Yeah, so I was like, no problem. And I'm very disciplined in that I stay focused. You know, people are coming to me to see the photographs of the people they love. Not coming to see my kids, my wife, what I had for dinner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So
they just want to see the pictures, so I'm just going to give you that every day. And so when I started it about 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago, it started growing, and then I started getting 1,000 followers a week.
You got like 250 or something.
Because
right
it went 1,000 followers a week for 4 years.
Wow.
Straight.
Unbelievable.
You know what I mean? And that's how it built up.
That's crazy.
But I'm very clear on what that page is. It's for the people.
Right.
I don't watermark. I don't put anything there to block you from enjoying these artists. You know, because, and that's part of why the fans like me, I believe, because I let them have their people.
That's cool.
I don't put myself between you and them. Yes, I own it. Yes, I created it. I eat from this. So if you're making money, cut me in. But I'm not going to stop you from getting it.
And I heard that Finland one was an absolute success, right?
Yeah, it set the attendance records for 25 years for the museum. And this is like northern Finland. This is a very, very white part of Finland.
White part of it, yeah.
White part of Finland.
You never imagine hip hop.
Oh my God.
Well, you saw the tour, you know, with the Gods of Rap tour.
Oh yeah.
And in Finland was like, I think was the last show, Helsinki.
I was there.
Yeah, you told me about it. It was crowded.
They are hardcore hip hop fans. You think I'm kidding?
More than a lot of like countries that have a lot of black people.
Yeah. So they don't play with their hip hop, you know, and so which fits me because I'm root hip hop. So I'm welcome in places like that, you know what I mean? And and I just opened another museum show there 2 weeks ago that'll be up until September. Another big exhibition and on the national news, full on coverage. But the reality is they were just ahead of the curve. The same thing is happening around the rest of the globe.
So that set up a bunch of
that started the flow. That started the flow. And I've been Sao Paulo, Brazil, right?
Yeah.
right? And Rio as well, right? Lagos, Nigeria, Bangkok, Norway, Oslo, Helsinki. I've been through Barcelona and done it. So pretty much the whole globe.
Europe has a big hip hop following.
But so does Sydney, Australia.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like so does Brazil.
It's all over the world.
You know, so it's really like I said, it's probably the biggest nation in the world, the hip hop nation.
Yeah.
You think about it.
Yeah.
Right? So if you are from the hip hop nation, you have connections with people all over the globe.
Yeah.
And you're similar. Same people, you know? Like nothing else has ever done that.
Completely different than other genres of
nothing has done it before. It's connected the globe. Like I go to Brazil, I don't speak obrigado. I can say a little bit, right? But
obrigado.
But that's about it. but I get love in Brazil.
Of course.
Because they're like, you're one of us.
Of course.
So I feel, so for me, it's like, yeah, that's what hip hop did for me.
I would go to some concerts here in New York. I've been like more than 100 concerts. I'll go by myself sometimes. And people would look at me and say, this is the only white guy. I've been to some places I was the only white guy, literally.
Nice,
and people go, I'm from Brazil. People go, oh, okay. Because you're one of us. Yeah, you're Latin.
Brazil's official. But also,
I'll be in my Tim boots and my,
you love it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Well, Brazil, the thing about Brazil that I like is that it's authentic. Brazil's official.
Yeah.
It's crazy as hell.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it special. You know what I mean? It's like it's
crazier than you think.
It's crazy as hell, man. Look, I'm Nigerian.
Yeah,
I know crazy.
I know. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
so and
could be worse.
And I've been, and I've been in the mix in Brazil. I've gone into certain neighborhoods there where it can turn like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean,
Yeah.
right? You know what it is, right?
Of course.
But I've also been to South Central where it can turn like that.
Yeah.
So I know what the hood is.
So you told me the connection with Brazil started with our friend Luciana.
Yeah, Luciana.
How was that? Tell us about it.
So Luciana's a friend of mine that I met in New York maybe about a decade ago.
Okay.
And then she entered my crew. So I have a pretty good network in New York. So if I bring you into it, you can now access New York on a whole nother level. And that's how it started, I introduced her to my people. Now she knows all these people in New York. And then when she went back home, she's watching what I was doing. She's like, you know what? You need to come to Brazil.
Of course.
And so she got on this mission to get me to Brazil, and it was very effective. And now Brazil is my #2 market in the world.
Wow.
All within like a year and a half.
Oh, it surpassed Finland.
Finland's 5 million people. Brazil's 200 million.
200.
There's no comparison.
Yeah. And Sao Paulo is the biggest city in Latin America. It's unbelievable. It's big. It's huge. And a lot of hip hop fans there.
Oh, big time.
Hip hop community is big in Sao Paulo.
And for me, being born in Nigeria, it's natural for me to be connected to Brazil.
Yeah,
Those are my people. And that's how I look at Brazil. Right? So when I'm there and I see the stuff, it's like, oh, I get this. I get this, and I believe in the youth there. I believe in them.
And you were able to get like sponsors for all this, right? Some big sponsors like Adidas, Budweiser, a bunch of them. And you started doing your own clothing thing. Tell us about it.
Well, I think that sponsors will follow you if you're winning.
Of course.
It's what it is, you know, right? So you don't send them a letter asking them to help you. You start winning and then they follow you. And that's kind of how it went. Like they saw me moving around the globe, and so they got behind it. So Adidas got behind the Berlin show, and then they followed up with the Los Angeles show 2 months later, right? Budweiser did the Lagos show for me, and I didn't start off with sponsors. I've been moving that way,
right?
But ultimately, the gift shop is the sweet spot. That's the business. You know what I mean? The work on the walls, not everyone can afford it. It's not for everyone. But people can buy a postcard, a skateboard deck, something that, so since I'm for the people, I have to make it reachable. You know what I mean? And so I've been working on the process of the gift shop being what I offer the people. And the very wealthy can buy artwork off the wall, but I don't want to eliminate the kid on the street.
Right.
And so even if I charge a cover for my exhibitions, I'll always have a free day.
Yeah, but the clothing is so important because people love, like, you get the sweaters, you get the shirts.
Yeah, it's big, it's big.
How can people get those from your website?
Well, ultimately they can go to my website, Uncategorized. I'm expanding that now, and chimodu.com. But in Brazil, I'll produce locally. I think it's important, you know what I mean? Because you want to support the economy where you're moving product,
right?
And it's easier not dealing with customs and importing that,
Right, yeah,
so,
it's easier,
so I have the picture. Who wants to make some shirts? It's really that simple.
I gotta get my Mobb Deep one. I already told you.
Done. It's already done. We'll get it done. So, but I think that the business of photography is very important because if artists can't stay afloat, no one hears your message. So you can't just be creating. You have to find a balance. Because there's nothing worse than talented people that can't eat.
Yeah,
it's the worst.
Tell us a little bit about those books, man. Those beautiful books that you brought me. This one. Come on, this is. Can you get this? Look at that.
So that's Tupac Shakur Uncategorized. That's a book I released 2 years ago.
This is incredible.
Hardcover.
Tell us about it. How you had the idea? How did
the idea was I hadn't seen a coffee table photo book of a hip hop artist. I don't even think I've seen one of a black artist. You know, so I was like, all right, let's make this the first one, and let's do the Tupac one. You know, he's not the only person I photographed, obviously. You know, but he stands apart in a way from the hip hop community. You know, like
this was in the cover of the source. I
yes, it
remember
was.
that.
Yep. A variation of that.
Yeah.
Yep. So my thing is like, let me give him the first book, and then I'll start working on my series of books, which is just like my collection, kind of like my Instagram with some stories behind it. But this is the form you should look at photographs, printed. You know what I mean? It's
that's what I love. I love
gotta
this
see it, like, on the wall or in a book. That's the proper way to look at them.
So you got this one, and then
this one here. This is actually a catalog for my current show that's up in Finland right now.
Okay.
It's at the Art Museum in Finland. And it's just, you know, shows have a catalog, but there are words in here, which is, that book doesn't have many words, but half Finnish, half English. Right. You know, so it's a catalog for the exhibition.
And then you have the Nas. This is his bedroom.
His bedroom. 18 years old.
Wow, look at this. Roster 5'9" and Eminem in 1997. And I forgot to mention how many hip hop albums. The cover.
I did a lot of editorial work.
Here's the biggie one, the World Trade Center, and within 4 or 5 years, we lost
towers
both
were gone
of them.
and Biggie
the towers
was
were gone and Big was gone.
Yep. Within 5 years, everything was gone.
Yeah, it became an iconic, epic picture. Yeah.
My work was mostly editorial.
How'd you end up in the album covers?
Well, because I did, obviously, certain artists like you. And the artists that like me are the album covers I shot. So Method Man Takal, he liked me. You know what I mean? Mobb Deep, I was down with them.
That was the infamous.
You know? Yep. I did Black Moon Enter the Stage.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did that first. Yeah, I
didn't know about that one.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. That was actually my first album cover. The red background. That was my first album. Yep. And I've done a few other albums, but album work was never really my thing.
Now, Never Left from Snoop, they got an old picture.
An old picture of mine. They licensed. And Better Days, Tupac's Better Days album, they licensed a picture from me for that. You know.
Yeah. Posthumous.
Posthumous. But I found that being an editorial photographer, I made all my own creative decisions. You know, when you work on album art, there's a committee that decides, okay, the artist wants to wear this outfit, they want to stand this way, you know? So my photographs have my look to them. So they're pure, you know? Like the work that I did for pay, only sometimes can you use them after. You know what I mean? Right? Sometimes like the Mobb Deep one works, Method Man Takal works, you know, the photographs of it, but there's some stuff like Mobb Deep at the table with the powder and the money on, that doesn't work after the album cover, right? So you get me? And sometimes album cover can be that way. You know what I mean, right? So I find that editorial shooters have the longest legs if you're good at it. But you have to bank on your money later. You don't make your money when you're done.
That picture is, sorry to cut you off, but that Mobb Deep thing you said with the powder and everything, was that the one was on Hell on Earth, but in the insert?
Yes. Because all that powder.
That picture was on a promotional thing. Yeah, the poster. Yeah.
And my friend built that table. That green table. My boy.
I wish I had that. I wish I had that picture, like a big one, to put it in my studio.
You know what's funny?
I gotta get that one.
I probably need to get that. People ask for that photograph.
See, I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, people ask for that picture.
One.
You know,
it says Hell on Earth on. What's the label? Loud.
Loud.
Yeah.
Because and that I'll tell you the story behind that photograph. You know, there's like a monastery, you know where the nuns are in the church? So we rented this place on the Upper East Side. Literally, I'm telling you the
hip hop group, hardcore one.
Hardcore.
With powder on the table.
Right? So they had this idea to do like a scene from Scarface.
Yeah.
So they bought all this flour. They poured the flour on the table. They had the brandy. The blunts were in the air. And think about it, it's a monastery, right? So but they had so we rented the space. So the people are like, "What's going on up there?" I sent my decoys, like, go talk to them, tell them where.
They probably think that was like an underground spot or some shit like that.
It was crazy. But in the end, we got the photographs. But what was funny about it to me is they had to remove in Photoshop, early Photoshop, which was not that good then, the white powder. Right. The record label was like, come on, you're going too far.
That's too hard. Yeah.
So they removed the white powder, you know. But that picture, I always remember that picture because it's how crazy. And that actually shows how I am. Yeah. Like all that chaos, I could still pull a photograph out. And you know what I mean? And there's a lot of chaos going on, right?
Let me talk about a subject that is, I was talking to, you know, every now and then we talk between, you know, friends, and we always talk about that, how cell phones like destroyed so many careers, because you can find in the cell phone right now, I don't buy watches anymore sometimes,
it's true,
alarm clock, or a calendar, or calculator. There's so many things, like flashlights. You find everything on a cell phone. And photography is something that when I travel, I used to take my camera and my filming camera also, because we had to film, and we bring the tapes and everything. So now you can get in this cell phone, in the digital cameras, you can take like 200 pictures and you can delete like 150 of them, and then you keep the good ones.
Yes.
How did this affect photographers all around the globe? Because you know, people used to hire photographers to go to like at a party for something like that, and now you can just get anybody to just take pictures. Not that it's going to be the same quality, but you have a great quality in cell phones.
I think cell phones are great. I think they're great. You know, because at least everybody has a camera.
Yeah.
That's a good thing for me.
Really?
One reason why is that you realize how hard it is. You know, because even though there are cameras everywhere, the pictures aren't any better. There are more of them, but they're not any better. Because it's still the same process to take a photograph. You still have to look through a rectangle and make decisions.
Right.
That hasn't changed. It's still composition.
But do you think that kind of marginalized a little bit? Like people don't even care about like to have that same quality because they can afford.
I think
the business must be.
I think that's okay though.
Really?
I think only the cream should rise in every industry.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So the fact that someone else could take their own shot of the skyline, that's okay. That wasn't really high level photography. You know what I mean, right? I had the equipment, I could do it, so that's okay. But to show up and pull something out of a human being, that takes a skill.
Right.
You know, and so I think the stuff that doesn't require skills, yes, that's been canceled out. You know? And in the end, with the camera phone for me, the only problem with it is if I get a good photograph on my camera phone, I'm not happy about it. I wish I had a better camera.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's okay to a point. You know, but if you actually have a moment you want to record, you want it on a proper camera. But you want to record it rather than not.
Yeah.
And having that helps a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right?
But I know that because we have, like, I do a lot of events, so we have one of the a really great photographer in Brazil called Ricardo, and he takes the picture. Sometimes, you know, we do the pictures and like, this is not like Ricardo, so we kind of bring him in, and then what he does the albums for the picture. Go like, oh my God, this is some professional shit.
Yeah,
it's completely different.
No, it's true. Yeah. But you don't always need a pro. Like when people people try to reach out to me, I'm like, have your friend do it.
Yeah, come to the birthday party, take pictures of me.
Have your friend do it. You know what I mean? It's like even for celebrities, have your boy do it. If you call me, that means you want me. Right. Okay, that's different. You know what I mean? But if you just want a picture, there are plenty of people that can take a picture. Yeah. You know, you bring me when you want it by me. You know, cool. That's the level, right? But as far as that, of course your friend can take a good picture of you. Right. I'm not going to say he can't. That would be stupid. Of course he can. But if you want it guaranteed, you want a pro. Right. You want someone that has a track record. Then you call me. If anybody can do it, don't call me. I don't want that call. Trust me. You know,
Is there a project that you're working on right now, the future one that you want to talk about?
Well, I have a museum show that's open in Finland right now as we speak. That'll be up until September 1. I have one opening in North Carolina, July 5th. That'll be up till November. I'm working on London show, you know, and then start another book series, you know, the actual Chi Modu series of books, you know. And then I got to get my butt back to Brazil, man.
Of course, no, we'll bring you. I'm going to help you.
It's time.
You should come back to Rio. It's time.
I have to come back to Rio. You know, I have to. Like, I feel at home there, and I think there's a lot to expand and explore.
Of course.
A lot.
Man, thank you so much for coming, man. It was a pleasure, and I'll make sure I'll get that Mobb Deep one from you.
Done deal. Thank you, all right? Thank you, right?
Good. Thank you.